Hey guys, it's Mike Monty, one half of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. And we want to reach out to all the fans out there who have supported our show to say thank you. Thank you for making 2021 one of our best years. And one of our best years was because of Anchor. Anchor, the way that you can have your voice heard. You can be just like us. Record your own podcast. Use the Anchor tools to edit your podcast. Use it on a phone. Use it on your computer. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all with Anchor, they're totally free. So be just like Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh. We're looking together for a great 2022. We've got huge guests coming on board. Oh, yeah. You probably wonder why Jimmy's not here right now. Well, he's prepping for one of the best interviews we're about to have, and we're going to surprise someone with. So hang aboard with us, and don't forget, be like us and use Anchor.
Elm Logistics, for all your logistic needs. Call 631-299-3595. That's 631-299-3595. Elm Global Logistics. Pride, performance, and partnerships.
Dino Luzzi Energy Drink. Yeah, it's that good.
M&J Video Games and Collectibles. Sport and non-sport cards, wrestling items, autographed items. We buy, sell, and trade. M&J Video Games and Collectibles, located at 1049 Queen Street, Southington, Connecticut. Call us at 1-860-479-9223 or 860-93-GAMES. M&J Video Games and Collectibles.
Episode 2 of Stay Frosty with my man Ricco Ross. And the last time we were with you, we were talking about Death Wish Part 3. Quick question for you, Ricco, man. How was Michael?
You broke up just at the end. What did you say? How was Mike who?
How Michael Winter, the producer of Death Wish 3, how was he to work with?
My man Michael Winter. Michael Winter was cool, man. We had a good time working on it. He actually he kind of reminds me a little bit of you, Tim.
Really?
He's got yeah, he does. He's got a great sense of humor. I'll say that much about him, and he gets things done, man. Michael Winter is, I think, his real claim to fame is that this man will take a script and he will get it on time and on budget. And he is just that's something that was very important to him to bring in his films on time and on budget, and he managed to do them pretty much like that every time. Whereas other directors, I guess the biggest kind of name comes to mind is Stanley Kubrick. Whereas Stanley Kubrick, you know, he was known for not bringing his films in on time or on budget.
Yeah, I heard he went way over budget with the Shining movie with Stephen King.
Yeah, I got cast in Full Metal Jacket with Stanley Kubrick, and I had
no idea. I had no idea that you're in Full Metal Jacket, man. I got to go back and rewatch that film.
No, I'm not in it. I got cast in it, but when I got cast in it, I had already met for Aliens, and
okay,
and then I met him afterwards for Full Metal Jacket, because when I went in to meet James Cameron for Aliens, we got along really well. He liked me, but he also he read me for the male lead, which was Hicks at the time, and I had a lot of film opportunities coming to me at that time, and I told him, I says, you know, look, this is early in my career. I really am only interested in the film if you're going to cast me for one of the leads. And he says, well, you know, James Cameron said this is very early days in the casting process. He says, I'm reading you for Hicks because that's the character that has the most dialogue, and so I'm reading a lot of the actors for Hicks because he has the dialogue. But and I can see how you are as an actor. But he says, I haven't seen anybody else, so it's hard for me to offer you that role right now. He says, but I will ask you this, before you accept anything else, will you at least come back and see me? And I said, I would. Then I met with Stanley Kubrick for Full Metal Jacket, and Kubrick said that, well, I take that back. I did not meet with Stanley himself. What I met with was his assistant. And Stanley Kubrick had this assistant that that he always worked with. And this guy had one arm, and I met at his house, but I didn't actually meet him. And I go in there and I meet him and meet his assistant, and we talk, and I never really meet Stanley. And that was very, very strange and very odd for me. So I go back home and I'm thinking, well, you know, he obviously is going to get back with me and let me know. And I get a call from him, from my agent, saying that, yeah, they want to offer you 8 weeks on Full Metal Jacket to play Lieutenant Cleveland. The problem is that I never got a script. I only got the sides, and so I didn't really know exactly how much the character was involved in the project or not. So I wanted to work with Stanley Kubrick because at that time, James Cameron wasn't the James Cameron we know now. He had only done, I think, maybe Terminator was the biggest movie he had made, and I think he had done 2 other smaller movies. So Stanley Kubrick was the actor's director, because one of the things that was kind of like in the zeitgeist was that Stanley Kubrick loved to have actors come in and improv, and during the process of that improv, he would then finish the script. So I got back in contact with James, and I says, listen, I want to tell you that I got offered 8 weeks for Full Metal Jacket. And James asked me to come in and talk to him. So I came in and talked to him, being a man of my word. I said I would see him before I accepted anything else. So I didn't accept the role at that time for Stanley Kubrick, but I went in and I talked to James, and I said, listen, I really would like to do the role with Kubrick, but I says, I like this project as well. And I told you I wanted to come back and see you before I accepted anything. And as a man of my word, that's what I'm doing. And Jim said, listen, it's still early in the filming process. I cannot offer you that lead role of Hicks, but I can rewrite the script, put 3 characters together and create 1 character for you. And he says, and I'm willing to offer you that right now. And he says, I tell you what I would also do. He says, I am willing to let you come back a week late because apparently the 8-week period that Stanley Kubrick wanted me for only overlapped 1 week with Aliens. And so he said, I'm willing to let you come back a week late. And so you can do both films, but you have to make sure that Stanley Kubrick's going to release you after 8 weeks. So I was like, great, this is excellent. I'm going to get both these babies. And I get in contact with my people and my team. And I said, listen, I can do both films. Just make sure that we get a release after 8 weeks. And apparently Stanley Kubrick would not release me after 8 weeks. He said he wouldn't do that. So then I asked him, I said, well, listen, if he's not going to release me, can he at least pay me my fee? Because Stanley Kubrick was offering only scale. And Stanley Kubrick said no to that as well. I says, well, listen, ask him if he can send me the finished script so I can at least see what I'm doing. And he said no to that as well, because he said what his plan was for us to go inside of like a workshop the script. We were going to improv, we're going to work it, and whatever actors shine, that was going to be in the script. And he was going to then finish the script at that time. And I kind of understand it now, but I really didn't understand it at that point. But Full Metal Jacket took about a year to make. And that's a long time for a film. And that's a long time to be on the contract for one film, especially when you're only getting paid scale. And I was willing to work for scale for Stanley Kubrick. I mean, I would have worked for free for Stanley Kubrick at that time because I wanted to work with him that bad. But at the same time, I had this other offer. So James told me, Cameron says, listen, I will rewrite the script, let you read the script. I will also let you choose the character that you want to play other than this character. And he says, and I will pay you your fee. And so with that, I had to make a decision. And I probably am one of the few actors that have turned Stanley Kubrick down, and I had to pass on Stanley Kubrick and go with Aliens.
So looking back on it now, presently, do you feel like you made the right choice?
I do feel like I made the right choice, but I gotta say, maybe it's that thing, the thing that you lose is the thing that you want the most. When Full Metal Jacket came out, I so wanted to be a part of that. But I also remember when we were filming, we're all filming in London. We're filming. There were a number of films being filmed at the same time, and the Americans that lived and worked in London at that time was a very small group. And so we got to know each other. We knew we were in town, and we would often meet up at pubs or something like that after shoots or on the weekend. And I remember the guys on Full Metal Jacket, they were freaking miserable during that shoot. A lot of them were waiting around for very long times and not being used. And we're used to waiting. As actors, they call you in and they have you rush to wait. That's the saying. And so we're used to that. But some actors in Full Metal Jacket were getting called early at 7 o'clock in the morning, getting made up, getting wardrobe, and then waiting all day and never being used. And that could drive you freaking crazy. I mean, you're getting paid for it, so you really can't complain. But at the same time, you're like an athlete at the starting gate, and they're not letting you run.
Right.
And you can do that for a while, but it will drive you crazy if you're doing it day after day after day, and for some of the actors, week after week. There was one actor on Full Metal Jacket where this guy was on the film for months and was not used. I don't know if you know this story, Tim. I can't think of the actor's name, but we used to kick it. We used to hang out together. He was kind of a firecracker, but he was the guy that was supposed to be the sergeant in Full Metal Jacket. But what happened was they brought in a real sergeant in Full Metal Jacket to get the guys in shape, to get them used to doing cadence, to get them used to being in formation, to teach them all of the things that a real soldier should know. But this guy that they brought in, who was a real soldier and wasn't an actor, Stanley Kubrick liked him so much that he decided he was going to give him the role. And so after months of waiting for this to do his thing, the guy that was supposed to play the role, the actor that was supposed to play the role, was told that, listen, you're not going to play the role. As a matter of fact, we're going to pay you off and give you a ticket back to LA. And that's what happened. And then later on, the same actor got a call from Stanley Kubrick saying, listen, I got this one scene of a soldier hanging out of a helicopter, and he's shooting down at the enemy. And when you watch the movie, that one scene where you see this crazy guy hanging out of the movie, and he's got a machine gun, he's just going, yeah, take that and that and that. He's going, that's the guy that was supposed to be playing the sergeant. So there was another black guy on Full Metal Jacket who was playing a lead, and he was a friend of mine from back here in Hollywood. I think his name was Adrian. I can't think of his name right now, but he told me a story later on. He said that he had been extending his contract for 3 times, and he said he was working for scale as well. And he said by the 3rd time, he says, I asked him, I said, listen, I can't keep working for scale. He said, I'm happy to, I'm a team player. I'm happy to extend the contract again, but can you at least pay me my fee? And Stanley Kubrick told him no, and did not extend him. But what he did do was he shot all of his scenes and killed them off right away. And in this guy's dying scene, they were trying to replicate a famous poster at the time of a Vietnam guy getting shot, and I think the caption was "Why?" and it was a kind of anti-war thing. And basically, you saw this guy running through like a swamp, and he gets shot. And at the instant he gets shot, his hands go up, and he falls into this swamp. And this guy had to replicate that in the film, and he said that Stanley Kubrick had him do it over and over and over again. And he felt like it was Stanley Kubrick saying, okay, you're not gonna play my game. I'm gonna take you out of the film, but I'm gonna take you out this way. And it was just kind of like the mood of the film and the mood of a lot of the actors that were working on that film. It was not a pleasant film to work on. So with that in mind, I'm pretty happy that I did Aliens instead of Full Metal Jacket. But every time I would see Full Metal Jacket or someone would mention it, it would kind of sting a little bit, because it was a great movie, man. It was a great movie, and it was some good actors, and I think I would have had an opportunity to show what I could do. But in Aliens was a very different experience, because when I did Aliens, we shot it for 3 months. I think I had a 3-month contract, but a lot of the times I wasn't being used. And I had another movie that I was doing, Mission Impossible, at the same time. Aliens was shooting in London, and Mission Impossible was shooting in Prague. And so I told James I wanted to do his film, but I said I did have a contract already with a film. And my part in Mission Impossible, it only took a couple of weeks to do it. Unfortunately, the weeks were not all at once. So James says, I'll let you do this film, and I'll schedule around your Mission Impossible shoot. And so I was able to shoot Aliens, fly to Prague, shoot Prague, fly back to London, shoot Aliens, and fly back to Prague and finish Prague. So it was a different kind of experience. And James was very accommodating. So that made it a lot easier for me to choose to do Aliens. And in the end, Aliens is a classic. Full Metal Jacket to me is still kind of a classic. I think Platoon came out afterwards, and Platoon was very similar and kind of took some of the steam away from Full Metal Jacket. But I thought that Full Metal Jacket was a really, really good movie as well.
So I actually knew about the guy's name was R. Lee Emery. He was a real drill instructor. He came in and got the part in Full Metal Jacket, and one of my clients actually played in Full Metal Jacket as the character Dunlon. His name was Gary Landon Mills. But Aliens, man, what Aliens did, brother, was Aliens endeared you to the fans. So you have a lifelong place at worldwide comic conventions because of Aliens.
Very
That's
true.
what Aliens did for you.
Very true. Very, very
I think you made the right decision.
Yeah, you're right about that. And one of the things that I don't take for granted either is that Aliens fans also has made the cast members a family because we get together every couple of months. And a lot of films, what you do is you work on the film, and there's a lot of downtime. So during that downtime, you actually get to know the actors that you're working with. And sometimes you meet some people, and you think these guys, this person could be a lifelong friend. But inevitably what happens, the film finishes, you move on to another film, and you lose contact with that person. And you really enjoyed their company. Alien fans, because of these Comic-Cons, have allowed us to constantly reunite. And I don't know if they appreciate how much we appreciate that fact, because I became really good friends. I really enjoyed the cast that we were working with. I think we've told the story a lot of times that on Aliens, they had a similar thing happen where they brought in a real sergeant 2 weeks before the shoot, and they just worked us and got us in shape. And that also got us to know each other. And once you know each other like that, you do feel like, okay, I know this person, and I want to keep this kind of relationship going. And we moved on to other projects, but the fans keep bringing us back, and I really thank them for that.
So what was the audition process like for you on Aliens? I mean, you already kind of explained why you chose Aliens over top of Full Metal Jacket, but what was the actual audition process like for that film?
Well, James called people in like they normally do. What happens is your agent gets a breakdown and finds out that there's a character that you would be good. They submit you, and then you come in and meet with the director or the casting director. So I met with James the first time, and I had like I said, I said I was working on I had a contract for Mission Impossible, and so I got to tell you a story about Mission Impossible and Tom Cruise and me as well. But but I had that contract in my pocket already, so I was trying to see how I can work this thing out with Aliens, and it ended up working out pretty good. But James called me in. He met with me, and he wasn't hiding his cards. He was very upfront. He says, "I really like you. I'd love you to be a part of the project." And I know you got some other things going. I can't offer you the role that you're asking for right now, but I would like you to be a part of the project. And I said I would love to be a part of the project. When you read a script, Tim, and you know this too, man. You read a script, and some scripts, when you read them, the words just like drop off the page, man. They're just like, bam, this is going to be something special. And then there are films where you read it and you don't think much of it. You think, okay, this is just a job. Well, when I read this script, I thought it was going to be something special, but I had done a movie prior to Aliens called with Vanessa Redgrave's daughter, Jolie Richardson, and myself played the lead.
Spies Like Us?
No, it wasn't that. It'll come to me. Anyway, okay. So I'm doing this movie. We're working on this movie, and Jolie Richardson had this was her first lead role. It was my first romantic lead role. It was very different because you got to keep in mind this was in the 80s, and we were playing an interracial couple on film. So this was very different. And we had some other really good actors in the film, and what happened was we shot the whole film. There was a scene in the film where there was a mass shooting. Well, the bad guys came into a club, and they were looking for us, and they couldn't see us because there were so many people. So kind of dark comedy, they ended up just shooting everybody in the club and then walking around lifting people's head going, no, that's not them. No, that's not her. That's not him. And it was kind of some dark comedy in the course of the movie. We go on to finish the movie, and they're setting us up to go on tour to promote the movie. And then I get a call before I'm supposed to get on a flight to go to Paris, and they say they're going to hold the movie. And I asked, well, what's going on? They said, well, there was a massacre, a mass shooting in Hungerford, England. And this is a very rare thing in England, very rare. We have them every day here, but in England, that was something that never happened. And this is the biggest mass shooting ever in the country. And it had happened just before we were about to release the film. So they said, we're going to put the film on hold and see if we can hold it and maybe release it a few months down the road. which they did. But even when they released the film died, because the next morning, all the talking heads were only talking about that scene where there was a mass shooting in there and comparing it to the real life thing. So that film I thought was going to change my life. And I just remember reading it and thinking that this is a game changer. And because it didn't, whenever I would read a film after that, I would not allow myself to get too excited about it, because I just was afraid that it could possibly let me down. So I just thought, listen, Ricco, don't get emotional about this. This is a business. Go in there, do your thing. And after you, as I said before, as I often say, after it's over, it's over. What happens, happens. That's out of your control. Just go in there and do your thing. So when I read Aliens, I read the script, and I had never even seen the first Alien film. So I thought, do I even want to see the Alien film? Because as an artist, my fear in the back of my head, I'm thinking, well, if I see this other film and there are actors in it, will that influence me and make me try and almost copy some of the things that they're doing, as opposed to being original and just coming to this thing fresh? But I thought, I need to know the quality, the flavor of this film. So I watched that movie. I put in a video at the time, and I remember watching the movie by myself one night, man, and it was the scariest thing. But it helped me, because it wasn't, even though it was about the same subject matter and had Sigourney in it, it was more of a suspense movie, and our movie was more of an action movie. So I didn't feel like it really spoiled anything that I could bring to the film, but it did give me some heads up about the quality, the tone of the film, and what it was about. But yeah, I read the script, and when James offered me the part and we finally worked it out, I was really happy that that I was able to do that project, even though at that time I had no idea I was working on a future classic.
So prior to Aliens, you actually worked with one of my favorite singers of all time, my man, on a video called Saving All My Love for You, Whitney Houston. What was that like, man, working with Whitney?
Whitney and I, man, we had a great time on that project. We had such a good time. And at that time, Whitney had, that video became her first #1 hit, Saving All My Love for You. And that really just shot her up into the stratosphere as far as a singer, because she was gorgeous as hell. She was able to act, and I had to give her some pointers on when we're shooting the film, because she was so overacting it when we first started, and she could sing like an angel, man. That voice of hers was crazy. When I first got called in to do it, they said, "Listen, we want to love you to come and do this project with me." I get on set, and the director tells me, he goes, "We had already cast this role, but the other guy was too good looking." And I was like, "Oh, that's a backhand compliment." He goes, "Yeah, but the other thing was, he was good looking, but he couldn't act." And just thought, we got to get a real actor in here, and that's why I showed up. And then we show up, and we're working on it on this video, and it's going great. The song is beautiful. She's beautiful. The whole story was great. And at that time, this was early days in video, when they were just, a lot of them didn't have the quality of storytelling like this particular video did for the song. Michael Jackson kind of changed the game as well. But this was one of the first videos where the storyline was a great storyline, and they shot it like a movie. And this was groundbreaking. And I remember when we were shooting the film, we had this one scene. For those who don't know the story behind it, basically in the film, I play this character who is her producer. I'm producing this song for her, and we're working together. We're working long hours, and during the course of working together as a producer, her and I start falling for each other. The problem is, I'm married, and so we start falling for each other. But as the project ends and we produce the record, when the record's gone, I go back to my wife, and so she's saving her love for me. That's the story of the film. And we shot it in London. It was beautifully shot. There was this one scene where I'm in the booth producing her, and she's on the other side of the glass, and she's singing. and she's just mouthing the words, and we could hear the recording of her voice, and she's singing like, you know, that song, her voice is amazing anyway, but she's just mouthing it. And as she's mouthing it, you can see there's no real magic there.
Mm-hmm.
And we're shooting take after take, and the director is not happy. And then he says, listen, Whitney, do you mind if we, can you actually sing it this time? And she says, of course. And she sings it. And I tell you, Tim, it is at that point when I thought, I think she might have been 21 at the time. At that point, I thought, this girl has got it. Whatever that it is, she's got it. Because the moment she starts singing and she started emoting into this song, I knew that she had three things that most artists don't have. She was gorgeous as hell. She had a voice that was amazing. And when she actually sang it, she got into it like an actor gets into a role. She became that character. And I just thought, with those three things, there's no stopping this woman right now. And I told her that. And we had a great time. As a matter of fact, we exchanged numbers. I was living in London at the time. She was living in New York. So we didn't get a chance to hang out much after that, but we had planned to. And then, you know, she hooked up with Bobby Brown, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew this or not, but I'm getting ready to produce a film called The King's Bodyguard about my client, Dave Havler, who was Elvis's bodyguard. Elvis had a female group called Sweet Inspirations. And one of the Sweet Inspirations was Cissy Houston, who was Whitney Houston's mother.
Right.
And Whitney Houston was actually raised around Elvis Presley.
Wow, I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll tell you a bit of trivia too. What did you say?
A lot of his charisma, his personality, his stage aura kind of rubbed off on her, I think.
Exactly. I'll tell you an interesting anecdote as well. Years afterwards, maybe this is I think it was 2017. 2017, I get a call and they said, listen, someone wants to see you to play the role of Whitney Houston's uncle / bodyguard.
Wow.
And I was like, really? This is interesting. And so I meet with them, and we decide, it was for a movie for television called Bobby Christina.
Okay.
And Bobby Christina is Whitney's daughter, Bobby Brown and Whitney's daughter. And it was basically her life story. It was kind of seen from her point of view. And I was playing the bodyguard. And of course, it goes through the whole thing of when her mother passes away and everything, and what the bodyguard did and how he tried to handle the situation during this crisis. And even while we're making the movie, I had the good fortune of asking, can I actually speak with this guy? I want to kind of find out how he talks. I want to get his flavor. When you're playing somebody that's a real person and they're still alive, you know, it really does help the actor if you can kind of meet with that person. So he wasn't. We shot it in Atlanta, and he wasn't in Atlanta, but he agreed to get on the phone and talk to me and kind of like give me the ins and outs about his job and what he did and how he felt. And just listening to his voice and his cadence and whatnot, I kind of felt like I had a better grip on the character. And it was a great opportunity for me to learn more about it. But I just thought it was interesting that I played Whitney's lover, and then later on I play her uncle in her daughter's film. And then unfortunately, her daughter ends up passing away shortly afterwards, the same way her mother did. But it was a great project, and me and the producers got along well. And the producer actually asked me if I would be willing to resurrect this character, because she had an idea of shooting another film from the bodyguard's point of view, because the bodyguard has a lot of information that no one knows about, and he's still alive, and she wanted to shoot, and she said, I love your portrayal of him, and it's inspired me to possibly write a film just from his point of view. And so I said I'd love to do that, because after speaking to the guy, I knew that he had secrets that nobody else knew, but that never materialized. And I'm wondering if the reason why it never materialized is because he had secrets that he did not want to get out. And when someone's passed away, you probably want to respect them a little bit more. So I think that was part of the reason why it never got out.
Or it could be because some of those same ideas were incorporated into The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner. That might be another idea altogether.
There. I hadn't thought about that.
Yep.
I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, that's a good possibility.
So we are actually at the end of episode 2 with Stay Frosty with my man Ricco Ross, and we are coming back to you in a minute. We're going to send you another link to your email, Ricco, with episode 3, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you in one moment.
All right. And as usual, stay frosty, brother.
Yes.